To be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace. I had rather be on my farm than be emperor of the world. My mother was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. We should not look back unless it is to derive useful lessons from past errors, and for the purpose of profiting by dearly bought experience. Harmony, liberal intercourse with all nations, are recommended by policy, humanity, and interest. Arbitrary power is most easily established on the ruins of liberty abused to licentiousness. A man ought not to value himself of his achievements or rare qualities of wit, much less of his riches, virtue or kindred. The great mass of our citizens require only to understand matters rightly, to form right decisions. If the cause is advanced, indifferent is it to me where or in what quarter it happens. It is better to be alone than in bad company. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. Liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. George Washington famously warned against ungenerously throwing upon posterity the burden which we ourselves ought to bear. Some day, following the example of the United States of America, there will be a United States of Europe. It is far better to be alone than to be in bad company. One of the expedients of party to acquire influence, within particular districts, is to misrepresent the opinions and aims of other districts. The time is near at hand which must determine whether Americans are to be free men or slaves. Wherein you reprove another be unblameable yourself, for example, is more prevalent than precepts. Decision-making, like coffee, needs a cooling process. I'll die on my feet before I'll live on my knees. Arbitrary power is most easily established on the ruins of liberty abused to licentiousness. The basis of our political systems is the right of the people to make and to alter their constitutions of government. Individuals entering into society must give up a share of liberty to preserve the rest. A slender acquaintance with the world must convince every man that actions, not words, are the true criterion of the attachment of friends. A bad war is fought with a good mind. Gentlemen, you will permit me to put on my spectacles, for I have grown not only gray, but almost blind in the service of my country. Be not glad at the misfortune of another, though he may be your enemy. Strive not with your superiors in argument, but always submit your judgment to others with modesty. It is absolutely necessary for me to have persons that can think for me, as well as execute orders. Death, the abyss from where no traveler is permitted to return. No punishment, in my opinion, is too great for the man who can build his greatness upon his country's ruin. I hold the maxim no less applicable to public than to private affairs, that honesty is always the best policy. Let your heart feel for the afflictions and distress of everyone. There is nothing so likely to produce peace as to be well prepared to meet the enemy. To persevere in one's duty, and be silent is the best answer to calumny. Where are our men of abilities? Why do they not come forth to save their country? Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those be well tried before you give them your confidence. We must consult our means rather than our wishes. Real men despise battle, but will never run from it. Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak, and esteem to all. To encourage literature and the arts is a duty which every good citizen owes to his country. I conceive a knowledge of books as the basis upon which other knowledge is to be built. Worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph. Happiness depends more upon the internal frame of a person's own mind, than on the externals in the world. Perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages. Associate yourself with men of good quality, if you esteem your own reputation, for 'tis better to be alone than in bad company. Let us therefore animate and encourage each other, and show the whole world that a freeman, contending for liberty on his own ground, is superior to any slavish mercenary on earth. Few men have virtue to withstand the highest bidder. A sensible woman can never be happy with a fool. Labor to keep alive in your breast that little spark of celestial fire called conscience. Guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism. There is nothing which can better deserve our patronage than the promotion of science and literature. Knowledge is in every country the surest basis of public happiness. I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. 99% of failures come from people who make excuses. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. It is better to be alone than in bad company. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. Human happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected.